Well, good afternoon. This is Pam in the Nashville, Tennessee area, actually 7 miles outside of Nashville. And this is Joe. Good morning. Good afternoon, Joe.
Yes, it is afternoon. Good afternoon.
Hey, Joe, can you turn your volume up just a little bit?
Let me see. How's that?
Oh, that's a lot better. That's a lot better. Um, so, okay. Yeah, that's a lot better. Um, so, Joe, well, you know, there's a lot of noise in the news. What do you think?
Well, it seems like the world has lost its collective mind here lately.
Yeah, it's kind of off balance at the very least, I would say.
Well, it's like there's huge chaos and riots in Paris, and they're having the same thing similar to that in this country now in L.A. It's a similar situation. I think it's just they're have somewhat different themes, and they're rioting and protesting a little bit over different things. But basically, it's about uh, other groups from other countries trying to sort of take over and run the show. I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Um, this morning, let's see, I saw a clipping in a news article. It was a video actually, and it was, oh, what is her name? It was it was an attorney who is also a surrogate of the RNC, and she was saying, well, uh, in regards to LA, you have President Trump trying to, who's acting as a president, and then you've got Governor Newsom who's acting like a protester.
Yes, he is. He is acting in my opinion, as a proxy for a movement, whereas President Trump represents more of a traditional uh, business-based, corporate-based approach to trying to run an efficient organization. I think on both sides, the rich will keep getting richer, and the working people won't be greatly enhanced by the Trump administration, but they might not be penalized and hurt as much as they would be hurt by what Newsom represents. On the one side, they represent that they're going to do everything for you. You don't have to do much of anything, and in reality, you will end up having less of everything because it's propaganda. On the Trump side, I think that they won't take that they won't diminish your lifestyle that much, and they might improve it a little bit, but not at the expense of the rich getting richer. That's going to always happen on both sides.
I agree. It's sort of like written in the stars that the, the wealthy are going to run the world. The nerds, I heard long ago that it's the nerds who run the world. They're the ones with the innovative ideas. They're the ones that know how to pull back from trying to be cool and just going at it, basically, or they're intelligent enough to know how to manipulate.
Yeah, the leisure lifestyle is not something that's going to be available to people who are not in a position to have a lot of money and power. Basically, we're just up against it. We're going to stay up against it either way, on either side, I think.
Yeah. So there are all kinds of things going on in the news. Let's see. There are the riots in LA. There is the Trump Musk rift. There is today Trump delegates are meeting with Chinese representatives in London to discuss trade talks. So I think we just have to pick a corner of the world and start there. So, okay, one of the sources I checked out, and I try to check out both conservative and liberal news medias because I want to be able to say, oh, that we talk about both sides. I'll have to say that the information I had access to on CNN's website was quite limited compared to what I was able to get on conservative websites. But I want to start with an article from Fox News website. Okay, this was published yesterday, June 8th. Lunatic Democrat ripped for, quote, demonic video message, quote, end quote, video message demanding ICE agents get the F out amid California chaos. A California Democratic lawmaker was widely criticized by conservatives on social media after posting a website online telling federal agents arresting illegal immigrants in Los Angeles to get the F out. ICE, get the F out of LA so that order can be restored. Representative Norma Torres posted on TikTok Friday as protests and riots were breaking out over the raids. Conservatives on social media quickly reacted to the video, accusing Torres, who was born in Guatemala and became a U.S. citizen in the 1990s, of fomenting the violence and vitriol against ICE officers that unfolded over the next few days. This is a sitting member of Congress, conservative influencer account lives of TikToks posted on X. Okay, so people wonder, I mean, Californians might wonder why people are fleeing their state for a more normal lifestyle in southern states or more Midwestern states. If I would say, to me, Governor Newsom and the liberal Democrat representatives in LA, to me, they represent Nero fiddling as Rome burned. I mean, they're literally watching their streets and erupt in violence, things getting burned, vehicles getting burned, people smashing windows in businesses again, and they're sitting back and fiddling, acting like, oh, this is all your fault.
Well, it seems like what they're trying to do is say, if you just leave us alone, everything will be good. If you didn't try to meddle in our affairs, we would have a good state, and everybody would be happy, and we would have diversity and have all sorts of people come from all over the world to do whatever. And really, it takes me back to when Trump first ran for president, and then when he was running again, there had been so many riots in the streets, so many neighborhoods burned by these radical, progressive proxy militias that they were trying to send the message, I think, that you don't want Trump again. If you want peace, you want Biden and the Democrats, because we'll calm everything down and we'll make everything good for you. Well, what did they do? They put a zombie in the White House, and they made the economy broke, and they unleashed wave after wave of non-documented people leaving no paper trail coming into the country, and then they flooded them with benefits that the American veterans could not get, and that the working class poor could not get, who were citizens of this country. So it seems like what they're really trying to do is displace and take over the status quo with a different population that will support them, and everything they do and all the rioting and the mayhem that they gin up is directed to that goal.
Yeah, I read recently that everybody knows by now that it's no secret that the Democrats had every intention of trying to change, to implement a balance of power that would permanently be liberal by allowing all these illegal immigrants to come into the country, that they would give them the benefits, like you said, and shower them with freebies that the Americans pay for so that they would continue to be elected to office.
Yeah, it's like attempting to make the people who are working now and who have invested in this country and have a history here, to make them foot the bill and pay for taking their own lifestyle away from themselves. and replacing it with a different lifestyle, but having us pay the bill for them doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is that I think that would be the definition of lunacy. I think that I mean, we've talked about this before. Uh, our former stepdad, he was a Democrat. He was a blue collar worker, worked at Ford Auto Glass Plant for 23 years until he passed away. Um, he was a great man, a wonderful man. He loved our mom, and he was great to all of us. And I was involved with the young with Democrats for a time, but at some point it was like, it seemed like the Democratic Party just did a sharp left, and I was like, I couldn't keep following that bunny trail anymore.
Well, a lot of high-profile politicians who in the Democrat Party who have crossed over to the Republican Party say that their views didn't change, that the views of the Democratic Party or their platforms are, I don't know, I call it their propaganda changed, and they could no longer support the change, so that had defaulted to Republican because uh, they knew it was sort of futile to do anything else because you couldn't get anything else done just trying to be an independent that wasn't going to float the boat or get the job done.
Yeah, I'm curious. I just wonder how long John Fetterman will continue as a Democrat, because he really does seem like he's got the ability to think critically and logically and to balance things out. And his own party seems to uh, take him down the road because he wants to have a balanced point of view.
Possibly so. Um, there are wheels within wheels. It could be that there or he is being set up to be the liberal alternative to Trump, to have the sort of a hands-on persona of just practical common sense, straight talk approach, so that they would say, well, Trump causes too much problems, too much trouble. You need a liberal, but you don't like any of us. But John Fetterman, he talks your language. Maybe you want to vote for him.
Well, that's an interesting point of view. And that's a very logical point of view. You may be onto something, Joe. Um, and okay, let's see here. Um, there's another article from, let's see here. There's another article from Fox News. It's Morning Glory about those illegal immigrants in the United States. The article goes on to say many millions entered illegally on visas and have overstayed those visas. They are, quote, illegal immigrants, end quote. Some came with their parents across the southern or northern border or via airplane, and they are of all sorts of ages, from very young to middle aged. They are, quote, illegal immigrants. Some crossed the border illegally in 1987 and have been here almost 40 years. The most recent amnesty occurred under President Reagan in 1986. So everyone who came in illegally after that amnesty is, quote, an illegal immigrant, end quote, unless they found a sponsor and did the paperwork and met the requirements for a green card. So it says there's still a trickle of migrants finding difficult to detect means of entering the states. That President Trump could so quickly and effectively close the southern border, despite the repeated and obviously now conclusively shown to be false claims that President Biden needed new legislation to do so, will not quickly be forgotten. So basically, it's what we all know, what has been said. This could have been stopped in the Biden administration. He kept saying, it was up to Congress. There needed to be a new legislation introduced. That was just a out and out lie. Everyone knew it. So my the question in my mind is, what was the motivation for Biden to do that? Who was pushing the buttons behind Joe Biden saying, you've got to allow this into the country? Was it George Soros? Was it Chinese Communist Party? Who was pushing those buttons?
I don't know if it may just be that Biden didn't want to be prosecuted for his the syndicates that he was getting a lot of money from. He didn't want to be put into a revealed position where his activities could be put on the public table to be examined, maybe as a form of blackmail all the way around, or maybe as long as he was getting a bunch of money out of the deal and being reassured that he would face no prosecution for all the under the table money he was making. Maybe he really didn't care. I don't think he really gave a hoot about it. I think he was a shallow person just in it for himself and what he could get out of it. I think everything else was propaganda, double talk, and hypocrisy.
Well, I think you're right. I think he was hollow, and in the end, he was not only hollow. He, well, I mean, he was an empty shell and hollow. He, I mean, it's sort of like he became zombie-like to me.
He became, I don't know, I guess it was like some sort of reptile. It reminded me like an old reptile that doesn't move very well anymore.
But I hate to say this, but I know a lot of America for a while was a lot of people were obsessed with the series The Walking Dead. That's not my thing. I think I saw it once, and I was like, no, this is not for me. But yeah, it was sort of like we had one of The Walking Dead run in the country.
He was a real piece of work.
Well,
It's amazing that someone like him was able to get installed in the position he was stalled in, and then to carry on all of the stuff he carried on for all these years, and then behind the scenes, people doing what they were doing and using him as a shield for the attempts to decimate, deteriorate, and break down the social fabric and culture of the country.
yeah, yeah, he was a puppet. There's no doubt. Um, well, so I believe that I believe that all the Democrats, I believe that they planned, if Trump got elected, they planned to do everything that they could to try to stall any of his efforts to make the country better, to stabilize the country. And I think what's going on in LA is proof of that. And what has gone on in New York is proof of that.
It's a tactic.
Yeah. And so, and he has tried to remove people that are here illegally, some of them known criminals. He's tried to remove them. And I have to say, if I was a foreigner and considering coming to the U.S. illegally right now, I think I'd give it a hard second thought, because some of the places that they are sending these people to who come here illegally and who have been known to be criminals, it's not any place I would want to go. I think this is something people should seriously consider if they're thinking of coming here illegally. If they get caught, they could be shipped to a third world country that is over on another continent across the ocean.
Possibly so. A lot
Well,
going
it's
on.
happened. It has happened.
Yeah. I don't know.
And
It's sort of like a new gold rush. I think the progressive liberal Democrat message that has been sent out across the world was like, we're going to have a new country here. We want all of you to be part of it. If anybody doesn't like it, that's just because they're racist, anti, whatever, and we'll just have to deal with them. But y'all come on, and we'll just take over.
yeah,
I think
it,
that's their message.
well, a lot of people say that they think that type of messaging began when Obama came into office, but Obama did he did do a fair amount of deportations, from what I've read. So I don't know if it began so much with him, but I think perhaps the mindset in the country began to shift when he was president.
That's probably so. I don't want to say anything about him because I suffered too much from the years that he was just running the country and the economy. I sort of like affected my nerves. I can't really, I don't know what to say about that character.
Yeah, I get it. I had to write it was a paper in college when I was at Belmont. It was uh, it was a philosophy class, I think, and we had to write about the election uh, or a politician. And so I ended up writing about Obama, and there was one piece of information that came out at that time that I don't remember the source, but apparently one of his neighbors, I think he and Obama owned some property that uh, sort of adjoined each other, or I don't know if it was the homes they lived in or some property they had together, but the guy was arrested and charged with racketeering. So yeah, this was one of Obama's associates. So, I mean, I think so many of them do get their palms greased one way or another. That happens here in Tennessee. We know it does. But yeah, you're right. That was a messed up time. Um,
Not
Mike
that I think
Pompeo,
Biden was any better, but
Biden was definitely not any better. No, let's just say,
Biden was just more of a freak show.
listen, it was sort of like, once Joe Biden got into office, it became a very slippery slope to try to act like we were a normal country.
Yeah, it was a freak show, sideshow at the carnival. It became a carnival of horrors.
It makes me sad that so many liberals are like, I don't want to be your friend. You shouldn't associate with your family if they're not liberals, if they're not Democrats, if they don't think like you. That is not progressive thinking. If you're progressive, you're able to look at your differences, to discuss them without hating each other. But that seems to be what so many Democrats do. Is like, if you're not a Democrat, they just want to hate you.
It's a very peculiar syndrome.
Well, I think too about the scripture from is it Song of Solomon, that there's nothing new under the sun. And you look at all the madness going on in the world, and you think, wow, is this just a repeat of things that have gone on over the centuries and the millennia in this world, in a different time, in a different fashion? I kind of think so.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Just nothing new. Just same old song, different singers.
Yep. Okay. So now, one of the main issues that has been in the news, and we discussed the Trump Musk scuffle, if you will. So these are two very powerful, I mean, probably the most powerful men in the world right now. Elon Musk is the wealthiest. Donald Trump is the most politically powerful person in the world. Okay. And it was a beautiful romance for a time. But honestly, I did always feel that there was a danger in the two of them hanging so tightly all the time, because these are two powerhouses and they're two alpha males. So something was bound to happen.
I don't know. The dynamic seems to have occurred that because Musk put so much into uh, promoting Trump through the campaign, and put so much support and an effort into seeing happen, because he was genuinely concerned that there would be no country to have a business in if the Biden people, who are the Kamala, whatever her name is, uh, if they got in the Oval Office and the reins of power were further bizarrely perverted and warped. And so when Trump started pulling, probably uh, sort of backing away from allowing Musk to have as much influence as Musk probably feels that, right, right or wrong, he probably felt that he deserved to have influence in the decision making processes. That's the take read I'm getting on a lot of these uh, things I watch in the media, that these pundits saying that Musk is upset because his influence was being minimized and he wasn't being felt he deserved.
Well, I ponder this. I wonder if Donald Trump began to feel that the optics of it may not have been healthy for his image as a president, that perhaps he felt that it had the appearance that he was being manipulated or controlled perhaps by the wealthiest man in the world who happened to have helped his campaign.
Maybe. I think what you're talking about is choosing your battles. And in a war, sometimes you might have to sacrifice one of your high profile players in order to make a strategic move to advance further in the battle. Maybe it was something like that.
Sort of like a game of chess.
Yeah, so I mean, it always occurs to me that there's so many moving parts and so much going on behind the scenes and such a matrix of dynamics with all the power and all the personalities and all the plays going on that
Oh, crap. So I'll try to make this brief. This is our third attempt to finish this recording. Apparently, Riverside was having difficulty with people connecting to their platforms today. And we were kicked out of our recording twice because of connectivity issues. So I think we've made our point that things are a bit of a mess right now. And it seems that liberals are determined to keep their finger on the chaos button and keep it going, because I think their thinking is whatever it takes to prove that Trump can't do the job. So they think this is a show, that he's trying to play tough by having sent in the National Guard. Only now I just read that there are 500 Marines on prepare to deploy status. So this seems to be the topic a lot of people were recording and talking about today, because as we were getting kicked off our podcast because of the connectivity issues, immediately after that I saw where another podcaster from this state was recording about the goings on in DC and LA. Anyway, this is Pam saying I'm back to wrap it up for Joe and I today. This is a few hours later than what you saw us earlier, but thanks for stopping in and have a blessed evening.